all over, from synagogues to high schools in Inglewood to junior highs.
And Northern California.
He just recently switched careers. He was an engineering consultant and in that whole corporate world, and then he decided to become a teacher. I guess I influenced him a little that way, but he's a high school teacher at St. Mary's, which is a interesting thing. It's a Catholic school for girls in Inglewood, where 100% of the girls go to college, and they're African American, Latino. He teaches math there, and he got his master's at age 70. Wow. So he's kind of just a fun guy, and
a man who can't retire.
There's this really deep part of our family history that he'll tell you about. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
I need to stall for some of these people that have beers because I may want one if I have to. Thank you. A lot of you may think I'm too young to be a Holocaust survivor, but is Michelle here? No, I got a face her today. Yeah, so that's what did it. That did it.
10 years at least.
She was coming, but I guess she didn't. Anyway, some of you may know this, and some of you may not. So, whatever. But as you know, the Holocaust is remembered because of 6 million Jews that were killed, okay? But some people don't realize that there were 5 million non-Jews killed. And I'm not talking military, I'm strictly talking civilian. The non-Jews that were killed were people that maybe they had darker skin, maybe they were gay, maybe they were handicapped in some way. But there were 5 million non-Jews. So we're talking about 11, I don't have enough fingers, 11 million people, civilians, that were killed between 1941 and 1945. If you figure that out on a daily basis, it's an unbelievable number. On an hourly basis, it's an unbelievable number. So it's truly a Holocaust, not just for Jews, but for non-Jews. For everyone. Of course, the reason it's emphasized in the Jewish world because this event basically killed half the Jewish population of the world. There were roughly 12 million Jews, half of them were killed. You know, somebody asked me today a question. You know, there are 3 reasons why I'm here today, why I survived. 3 reasons. One is we were extremely lucky. Luck had the most to do with it. Number 2, I had a very brave mother and a very brave stepfather. And number 3, many Gentiles, Polish Gentiles, helped me. They helped me during the war. And you know, all you needed is one person to help you, and that was the difference between yes and no, living and not living, right? It's that kind of that simple. Now in Poland, you know, I brought a map because I always think there's some young people here, and there are. Poland is right here, kind of in the center of Europe. I was born in this town right here. Germany is right here. Now Poland had 3 million Jews, actually 3.3. 3,300,000 Jews. And 300 of them survived, so it's like 10%. In fact, just recently I learned from a video of a friend of Mindy's that gave me a video that half of the Jews that survived in Poland survived because the Russians shipped them to Siberia. Now, you know, you went to Siberia to die, you didn't go to Siberia to live. So many Jews balked at this. Many Jews didn't go. They stayed in Poland, unfortunately. Because when they stayed in Poland, then Hitler took them over. But if they had gone to Russia, they would have, many more would have survived. So about 150 of the 300,000, about half of them survived because they were shipped to Russia. In our case, we wanted to go to Russia, And they wouldn't let us because my mother had these two little kids. They wanted people at work. They wanted people of, 20s, 30s that was going to be a labor force in Russia. So we didn't go there. In fact, I only have two cousins that survived the Holocaust. And both of them went to Russia, joined the military, the Russian military, and survived the war as part of the Russian front. Okay, let me back up now all the way. Prior to the war, in fact, my daughter Mindy likes me to always talk about before, during, and after. And the way I'd like to do this, if you don't mind, is I'd like to talk maybe about 20, 25 minutes, whatever, and then you can ask all kinds of questions, okay? Because if you interrupt me now, it kind of leads me to, that I may answer the question later anyway. So please think about your questions and ask them later, okay? Okay, before the war, we were very wealthy. We lived in a town in Poland, very close to the German border. My father, this is my real father, not stepfather, was like 21 years older than my mother. So he was already wealthy when they married. My mother was like 18 when she married. So we were living very well. I had a tricycle, I had toys, I had candy, I had everything, okay? And in 1939, at the age of 4, the Germans basically came in to the city and said, you must leave immediately. Immediately meaning like 30 minutes. So my mother took whatever she could, mostly jewelry, gold, diamonds, things like that later on were very helpful in keeping us alive. And I couldn't take anything. Left my tricycle, left everything. In fact, my mother, when I took her to Poland about 15 years ago on a trip, she showed me, she said, see that corner right there? That's where our white, beautiful car was parked that we left behind. So we even had a car in 1939. Imagine that in Poland. So yeah, we were quite well-to-do. So that was our life before Hitler. So in 39, he made us move. And when we moved, again, we were living like right here, very close to the German border, if anybody can see this. And we kept moving west towards Russia and settled in a town here in the Ukraine, which at that time, incidentally, was Poland, now it's Ukraine. After the war in 1945, when the Russians, so to say, took all that land, they changed a few borders. They took a piece of Germany, made it Poland. They took a piece of Poland, made it Russia. At that time it was Russia, not Ukraine. So at that time, this was still Poland. Okay, so we settled there. And how did we get there? Well, we walked. We thumbed a ride on a horse and carriage because, two little kids were going, so people stopped. But somehow we got there to this town and moved into an apartment. And in 1941, if some of you know a little bit of history of this part, or most of you may know a lot, there was a thing called a blitzkrieg. Blitzkrieg, when Germany decided to invade Poland, they decided that their agreement with Russia was void, and they basically bombed the heck out of Poland. They wanted to take Poland immediately. So blitz means like a fast war, and so they had every plane they could muster and bombed the heck out of Poland. The reason I'm telling you this is because during this time, my father and I and my brother, and don't forget I was 6, whatever his height that was, my brother was 8, we were trying to put mattresses up against the window in our apartment. In those days when a bomb fell, the biggest fear was glass flying, things flying from the outside. It wasn't like today's bomb that destroys a lot more. So we were putting this up, and my father got a heart attack during this. My mother ran out trying to find, this was, you can imagine, a confusion. This is the night before the Germans came into our city. Trying to find a doctor, trying to find medications, no luck. Anyway, my father died. So one could almost say my father died of the natural causes. not killed or shot by Germans. The next day,